Nobody flew a helicopter over Tokyo for that shot. Nobody hired a grip, a gaffer, a second unit director, or a location scout. Nobody rented a rain machine, negotiated with the Shinjuku ward office, or catered lunch for 60 crew members. That entire scene, every single pixel of it, was generated from a text prompt, on a laptop, by one person. And here's the part that should be genuinely unsettling if you make your living anywhere near a film set. That's not even the best version of what these tools can do right now, in June 2026. That's already 6 months old. So the question isn't, will AI video get good enough to matter? That ship sailed. The question, the one nobody in Hollywood is saying out loud, is how long the studio system has before the math stops working in its favor. And the math already stopped working. Let me give you the most important number in this conversation, $300 million. That's what a modern tentpole franchise film now costs. Not unusual, not rare. Marvel, DC, Fast and Furious, Mission Impossible. That figure, somewhere between $200 and $400 million per film, is now the baseline for anything the studios consider can't miss. And what does that buy you? It buys you physical sets they'll tear down after 6 weeks. It buys you 100 days of location shoots where one rained-out afternoon costs $800,000. It buys you Robert Downey Jr.'s $75 million profit share on Avengers Endgame, which, by the way, is not a criticism of Downey. He earned it. But from a pure production math standpoint, that's $75 million for one actor's face. Now, flip to the other side of the ledger. Runway Gen-4.5's unlimited subscription, $95 a month. Kling 3.0. The AI video tool built by Kuaishou, generates cinematic shots at roughly 10 cents per second. Google's Veo 3.1, which now ships with native synchronized audio built directly into the video output, is accessible through Flow for a fraction of a studio day rate. I'm not saying one solo creator with a Runway subscription replaces a Marvel film tomorrow. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that the cost gap, the gap that has kept the gatekeepers in control since the first studio system was built by Adolph Zukor and Louis B. Mayer in the 1920s, that gap is collapsing. And the thing about a collapsing gap, you don't notice it until you're already through it. So let's actually talk about where the technology is, because there's a lot of noise in this space, and I'd rather give you the honest state of play. As of right now, the tools that matter for serious production work are Runway Gen-4.5, Kling 3.0, and Google's Veo 3.1. Those are the three you need to understand. Sora 2, OpenAI's model, actually went dark on the consumer side in April 2026. It's API only now, scheduled to shut down entirely in September. So if you're still picturing Sora as the face of this movement, update your mental model. Runway Gen-4.5 holds the top spot on the Video Arena leaderboard as of early 2026. What it solved, and this matters a lot for narrative filmmaking, is character consistency. Previous versions of these tools had a deeply annoying problem. You'd generate a shot of your protagonist, prompt it again for the next scene, and you'd get a completely different looking person. It's like hiring Tom Hanks for the first act and waking up with someone who vaguely resembles Tom Hanks for the rest of the film. Gen 4 fixed that with reference image locking. You feed it 3 photos of a face and it holds that identity across shots. Alleyway, office, rainstorm, same character. That's the feature that makes narrative filmmaking actually viable with these tools. Kling 3.0 from Kuaishou is the wild card. It produces multi-shot cinematic sequences with what they call storyboard mode. You can chain scenes together with consistent physics and native audio sync. And it does this for about $10 a second. A 10-second tracking shot costs $1. $1. The B-roll budget for a single day of studio production could fund an entire AI short film library. And then there's Veo 3.1 from Google. Veo was the first model to ship native audio generation built into the video itself, not added in post, not synced manually. The rain sounds like rain. The dialogue comes out with the right mouth movements. The spatial audio shifts as the camera moves. This is not Foley work done in a studio. This is a model that has apparently watched enough films that it's learned how sound and image should coexist. Now, I know exactly what some of you are thinking right now. Fair, completely fair. The current ceiling for most of these tools is around 60 seconds per generation, sometimes more. Sora 2, before it went API only, was generating up to a minute of coherent footage. Runway and Kling are in similar territory. But here's what that objection misses. Feature films aren't 60-second monoliths. They're thousands of individual shots, most of them 2 to 8 seconds long, stitched together in an editing suite. The average Hollywood movie has somewhere between 1,200 and 1,500 individual cuts. What you're doing with these tools isn't generating a movie in one prompt. You're replacing the camera department, the location department, and 90% of the VFX budget one shot at a time. The director's job doesn't disappear. The storytelling doesn't disappear. The craft of knowing which shot tells the story, that's still entirely human. What disappears is the $8,000 a day camera package rental, the 40-person crew, the 6 weeks of location permits, and the catering bill for 100 people every single day. The jobs most at risk aren't directors or writers. They're the enormous industrial machine that traditional filmmaking requires just to exist. And that machine is what the studio system is built on. Remove it, and the gatekeeping function the studios serve. We control production because only we can afford it, simply stops being true. Here's something I dug into when I was building out this piece that genuinely surprised me. In February 2024, when OpenAI dropped that first Sora demo, the woolly mammoth charging across grassland, the woman walking through Tokyo rain, the internet collectively went, wow, impressive but limited. The clips topped out at a minute. The physics were off. Hands were still nightmare fuel. 18 months later, native audio, 4K output, character consistency, multi-shot storyboard mode, physics that handle rain, fabric, fluid, and fire convincingly. The AI video generation market was worth $1.2 billion in 2024. Current projections have it hitting $12.5 billion by 2033, growing at 34.8% annually. And industry analysts are estimating that by 2026, which is, in case you need reminding, right now, 39% of all digital video ads will be generated by AI. Almost 40% of digital advertising. Not a niche experiment, not a proof of concept. 4 out of 10 ads you will see this year were probably never physically filmed. And here's the thing about that advertising number. Advertising isn't the ceiling. Advertising is where every new production technology proves itself commercially. Music videos were the proving ground for MTV-era cinematography. TV commercials validated digital cameras before cinema adopted them. If 40% of advertising is AI-generated in 2026, then the narrative film industry isn't watching from a safe distance. It's watching from the same platform that's on fire. I want to be clear about something before the comments section accuses me of building a death of Hollywood narrative. The major studios aren't standing still. They're not ignoring this. Adobe Firefly Video got integrated into Premiere Pro and After Effects in late 2025, and after an NVIDIA partnership in February 2026, it's running 5 to 8 times faster on supported GPUs. That's real-time AI video editing inside the tools that professional editors already use every day. The studios are folding AI into their pipelines. Fast. But here's the structural problem the studios have that no amount of internal AI adoption actually solves. Their overhead is baked in. Warner Bros., Paramount, Disney. They're running physical studio lots in Los Angeles with fixed costs measured in hundreds of millions per year. They have executive layers, legal departments, marketing machines, and physical infrastructure that exists because physical production requires it. An independent creator using Runway Gen-4.5 and a copy of DaVinci Resolve doesn't have any of that. Their overhead is $95 a month and electricity. And the content they're producing now is genuinely competitive, not in budget, but in watchability, with mid-tier studio output. The studios will adopt AI. They will use it to cut costs. But they're adopting it the way Kodak adopted digital, as a supplement to the existing structure, while a generation of creators who grew up with no attachment to that structure builds something entirely parallel. Look, I want to be honest about where I'm drawing line between what's actually happening and what's a trajectory. Will a solo AI creator bankrupt Universal Pictures by the end of 2026? No. That's not the claim. The studio system has a century of brand recognition, distribution infrastructure, and cultural inertia behind it. That doesn't evaporate in a single year. What is happening right now is that the barrier to entry for cinematic quality video has collapsed from $200 million to $95 a month. That's not future speculation. Tech X24 Live has been tracking this space. That's the current price sheet on Runway's website. What is a trajectory? Take it with appropriate skepticism. Is that as model quality continues doubling roughly every 6 to 9 months, and as character consistency and long-form coherence improve, the narrative gap between AI and traditionally filmed content shrinks toward the point where audiences simply don't care which one they're watching. That's the scenario that should be keeping studio executives up at night. Not AI takes our jobs, but AI makes our budget irrelevant. Because when the price of cinematic quality drops to zero, when any story worth telling can be told without asking a studio's permission, the monopoly isn't disrupted. It's made obsolete. That's the 2026 shift, and it's already in progress.